Six, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here to give you a quick update on what's happening in the equipment industry surrounding COVID-19. A couple of months ago, we gave you a little roundup on where we saw some things going. Just stepping back in again to give you an update of where the last couple of months have gone. If you follow equipment industry news at all, the last several months have been really interesting. Obviously, a lot of economies, businesses, processes, things have turned upside down with coronavirus concerns, and a lot of interesting stuff has happened. So the last video that we gave you here a couple of months ago was coming upon the point that we were starting to have gone through a period of business where things had gotten really quiet, where the virus first started being a concern and first started flaring up, to the point that we got in the season and people were at home looking for things to do, and equipment sales had really picked up in a meaningful way. Sitting here now in August, and being through a majority of the busy season has left us in a situation now where some of the predictions that we had made months ago for the state of inventories have come true. So today I can go through probably about a half a dozen of our most popular models, and across all 5 of our store locations, we are completely out. There is nothing to be had at this point, and we do not have machinery on the ground in order to be able to sell you. Now, we've had some pretty good promises from our suppliers of inventories starting to come in again at a pretty good pace, but if we're realistic, we're probably looking at some equipment shortages at least up until the end of the year. So if you have any purchases that need to be made, that have to be made for particular jobs that have to be done, or you got a piece of equipment on its last legs that's a must for your operation, now would be an advantageous time to think ahead, because you can find yourself in a situation where if that piece of equipment breaks down, replacing it might be a whole lot more difficult than what you expect. Our used inventory is also at one of their lowest levels of the last several years. If you pick across all of our lots right now, the amount of inventory that we have, even in the used stuff, has dropped to a really low level. That's really reflected across all dealerships in our industry, not just us. If you watch industry newsletters, magazines, bulletins that come out and that kind of thing, companies who survey equipment dealerships are telling us that across dealer networks, that dealers are reporting that equipment inventories are at a 7-year low. So it is absolutely, even from those places, coming across and telling us there's just not much to be had out there. Very surprisingly, I was saying months ago that I thought you would start to see prices climb because of that. With the manufacturers sitting and having so little inventory on dealers' lots, you'd start to think that things would turn into a little bit of a seller's market where you'd see promotional financing and that kind of stuff pull back and prices starting to rise, right? Simple supply and demand. But now that we're firmly in the third quarter and most of our vendors have released that information, those dealer side programs that we use when pricing equipment, I was really surprised to see things not pull back in any meaningful way. Customer financing programs is still strong. There's still enough of a concern out there in the marketplace that every one of our vendors, and us included, wants to keep the ball rolling that we've had here for the last several months, just not knowing what the future is going to bring. So I would say that today still remains a good time to buy a piece of equipment. But months ago, I would have told you I thought that might have changed, but it looks like that did not come true. So our operations continue to run well. We've been very fortunate not to have any infections across any of our dealerships. We do continue to hear of problems from manufacturers running big facilities and manufacturing facilities every once in a while, and we have seen some shortages and delays in parts and things coming in the door, but by and large, things that continue to operate very, very normally up until this point with few interruptions. So we're here to help. If you need a piece of equipment, parts for any machinery that you have, or service needs that we can help with, give us a call at Essex. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at Essex.com.